Today on Shop Nation, we build a really integrated cabinet to hold all of our sanding equipment and consumables. What's up you guys and welcome. I'm Travis with Shop Nation. In today's video, we're gonna be addressing some shop organization. Now, a couple months back, we actually addressed sanding organization for my little benchtop disc and belt sander, which is this guy right here. We're gonna take a similar approach, but this time for hand sanding and things that I use more often than this thing. See, I have a dirty little secret in my shop, and that's that I stuff all of my sanding junk into that drawer. Frankly, it's just not good. Every time I go to use a sander and then put it back into this mess, I always tell myself, man, I should do something about that. And then stuff it back in the drawer and close it and then forget about it until the next time I have to sand something. So we're gonna fix that today. So one of the first things I have to do is figure out what the heck I want to include in this cabinet, because if I include everything, it's gonna be kind of big. So for me, my go-to is always gonna be the random orbit sander. Now I also have two sheet sanders. Since getting the random orbit sander, I don't really know when I would choose this over that. The paper's harder to change out, it's not quite as comfortable. I guess maybe you get more surface area with the sandpaper and it's got corners so you can get into corners. I don't know. I just will 99 out of 100 times go for the random orbit sander. So that is definitely gonna have a home in this cabinet. I also recently picked up a battery powered rigid random orbit sander. You know, in case I want to sand in the wilderness or on a boat. I'm kidding. So in this cabinet, we're gonna hold two random orbit sanders, the wired version, which is the one that I use most often, and then the wireless version for quick jobs. Now, the one thing that kind of sucks about using a random orbit sander is when you have to sand a large surface. So for that, I picked up a belt sander. Now this is also battery powered, and I'm gonna incorporate that into the cabinet as well. So for me, that covers the bases for all of the power tools that I would need for hand sanding that I can think of. Now on top of the tools themselves, I'm going to be including consumables. So all of the different discs, as well as the different belts. I bought a set of belts for each of the different grits. And by the way, everything I'm using, I'll link below in case you want to do this exact same build. If not, you can tailor the plans, which are available, to whatever tools you have and consumables you have as well. There's also good old-fashioned hand sanding, which I use quite a bit as well. So one of my favorite hand sanding tools is actually this little sanding block here that has the same Velcro and accepts the same 5-inch discs that fit on the random orbital sander. So it's great because I can use the same consumables. It's easy to grab, it's got these little finger areas. I just really like this. Now in addition to that, I also have a regular block for sheet paper. I use this less often, but it's still handy to have. However, it does not use the same discs, so I have to use sheets. So in the design, I'm gonna incorporate storage for the different sheet goods that I have as well. And then on top of those interchangeable sanding blocks, I have these sanding blocks, which are a designated grit from the get-go. So in the design, there's actually going to be a dispenser for 3 different grits of these type of sanding blocks. These are great if you just need to grab something and go, or clean up a surface really quickly. Last but not least is a roll of sanding paper, and these are little 1-inch strips that come in a variety of grits. So this one is by PowerTech. Again, I'll link all the stuff in the description below if you wanna go check this stuff out. But this stuff comes in really handy, especially if you do any wood turning, which I don't do, but if you have to sand small cylindrical things or just small objects in general, this little sandpaper comes in really handy. So I'm gonna incorporate a dispenser into the design that holds these rolls. So between all of that, I think I will be really well prepared for just about any sanding job that comes my way. And the rest of the stuff, like the steel wool, the sheet sanders, and some of the other objects that I don't use as much, I'll just consolidate back into a drawer. Not quite as messy as before, but chances are I won't need that stuff as much. Okay, so with the design finalized and with the cut sheet from the build plans, which are linked above, time to start cutting out the parts. Now the good thing about this design, it's made from 1/2-inch plywood. You could probably make it from scraps around your shop, and you'll end up with a really versatile piece of shop equipment. I think you understand where we're going. The table saw. So with all the pieces cut out, the next step is really just to prepare some of the parts with some slots and some cutouts before final assembly. Okay, with all of my pieces ready to go, it's now time for final assembly. The order in which you assemble all of these different parts actually makes the build a lot easier, and that's all detailed in the plans. So if you're wondering why I'm kind of working inside out, that's why. Alright, so with the main body done, we can now move to finishing in preparation for paint. Now there's a lot more details that I'm going to add to this, but we're going to do that after we paint it. So I don't know about you, but I think that cabinet turned out pretty sweet. If you'd like to build your own, plans are available, and I will also link everything I used in the build and in the cabinet down below. It's such a huge improvement over what I used to have, if you remember from the beginning of the video, which was a drawer jam-packed with everything. Now I've got a clean, organized space that all of this stuff can live and I can access really easy when I'm doing projects throughout the shop. I'm actually really excited to use this in a project because I know one of the things that always slows me down is looking for stuff that I need. And now it's all right here. So if you've watched any other Shop Nation videos, you know that this is a similar concept that I'm trying to do around my shop when it comes to all of my different tools. Now I do want to give credit where credit is due. I leveraged some of the design features of this cabinet from a project recently featured on Woodshop Junkies. If you haven't seen his channel, I highly urge you to go check it out. It's this crazy South African dude that's building a really well thought out shop in a tiny environment, smaller than my shop. And he recently did a sanding organization, and that's what sparked this idea. So some of the design features are similar to what he did. So I'll put a link down his channel below. It's about time for a subscriber update. And as of shooting this video today, we're at 68,374 subscribers. Absolutely crazy numbers. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. If you're new to the channel and you want to make that number bigger, go ahead and subscribe. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys on the next project. And as always, continue to pursue shop greatness.